We are Eric and Rebecca Jackson, and we've been at Christ Covenant for almost 6 years now.
Yeah.
And how long have you been married?
We've been married 7 years.
Sure.
We were older when we got married.
Sure.
And so we knew that we wanted to have a family, and we wanted to start pretty much right away.
Sure.
So, yeah.
A tight window we had.
So in January 2017, we started that first round of IVF, and we got pregnant.
Yeah.
So it takes a while for all of those things to happen. So March 2017 actually is when we got that first really good news.
Sure.
I remember being at work, and they call you because you do blood work and everything,
Sure.
and it was like, you're pregnant, and I couldn't believe it, and I
Sure.
ran to go tell you,
Sure.
and we were so excited, and some really good friends of ours were getting married, in the next week or two, and so we were out of town
Right.
to attend their wedding and help set up and all that sort of thing. The wedding was in the evening, and so that morning we got up to help them, set up all of the decorations and things like that for the wedding, and that morning I started bleeding.
Right.
You're there to celebrate these really wonderful friends, and they're getting married, and we were so excited for them, and yet we were terrified. We knew what that meant, what that could mean, what it probably meant. I called the clinic immediately, and they said, it doesn't necessarily mean that you miscarried, so you'll have to wait until Monday, come in, and we can do an ultrasound and see what's going on. That Monday I went to the clinic, and they confirmed the miscarriage. So it was Christmas 2017, Christmas Day. We had a wonderful time celebrating with our family and friends, and at this point I was 12 weeks along, and that night I started to bleed again. Just having been through so much by that time, and having had such a great day, and so many wonderful feelings of hope and happiness, and we get to the emergency room, and they do an ultrasound, and to our delight,
Right.
there is our baby just kicking and squirming away.
Yeah, I remember I was like, what? I was already preparing next steps, because you'd been through this enough times. Like, hey, what next steps? Were we going to do another round? I was already there, and to our delight, when we saw a baby, we're like, what? Like, we're in total shock. Like, well,
Yeah.
how's that even possible?
Right.
What's happening? When she bled, the amount of blood she was bleeding, it was just like, there's no way a baby could survive this. We were like, what's going on?
I remember, again, God spoke to me in a very clear way and said, Rebecca, this is your son.
Yeah.
And we didn't know at that time the sex of the baby or anything. But God said that to me very clearly. And so all of the future complications that we went through, we went in with confidence, because we just knew what God had said.
Yeah, the problems didn't stop, but
Right.
the peace was there.
Yes. So Miles was born, our wonderful, perfect little boy.
So now we have Miles. What's next?
Yeah. So we knew that we wanted another baby. So we started talking about it, even as Miles was, 2 years old, kind of a year and a half, we thought, okay, that's the right time. And by March, we were pregnant again.
Was this pregnancy a darker time for you, Rebecca?
Yeah, I think because, again, God had spoken so clearly to us when we were pregnant with Miles. And so I was confident in everything that we did, every ultrasound. While there's always a little trepidation, I was just confident in what I knew God had spoken.
Sure.
And this time, I wasn't as enthusiastic, I wasn't as joyful as I had been in my pregnancy with Miles. And so I did have kind of some dark moments. I remember sort of telling myself, like, why are you feeling so dark, Rebecca? Like, God did this amazing miracle and gave you Miles, and, I have this husband after, having been divorced. I mean, I am a flawed, imperfect person, and God has blessed me beyond what I ever could have hoped for. And here I am pregnant, and I still was just feeling this like a depression almost. And it was like I couldn't snap out of it. And one Sunday morning, we were at church, and our worship leader sang the song Waymaker. And God used that moment to speak to me in a very, very personal way. And he said, Rebecca, I made a way for you to become pregnant. I worked a miracle in the fact that your baby is still there, even with all of the bleeding. Like, that is a miracle that you are still pregnant. I have kept my promise to you.
Yeah.
You have your son.
Yeah.
I keep my promises.
Yeah.
And so he said, I've been your waymaker. I've been your miracle worker. I've been the promise keeper. And he said, but you have to let me be your light in the darkness. And it was so dark. And so in that moment, I just sort of surrendered and said, okay, God, like, you are my light in the darkness. And from that point forward, it was like the fog sort of cleared, and that depression just evaporated. And it was really an immediate kind of thing. And he became my light in the darkness. I had to let him be my light in the darkness. Yeah. God can speak in those moments, and he holds you so close.
Right. And there were some things that were really important. I talked about worship was key for us too. And it's realistically too, when you're, especially with those dark moments and you're going through a dark season like that, the body of Christ was key. Just coming and leaving ourselves open.
I think that's one of the things that we love most about having a church family is that you can stand together in good times, in bad times. And having that support and that love and encouragement from people that you do life with. It's fantastic.
100%, yeah.
I'm just grateful.